Hello everyone and welcome to the second part of my PopSugar reading challenge TBR. So if you missed the first part, I will leave a link to that video in the description down below, so give that a watch if you're interested in all of the other books that I'm going to be reading for the PopSugar challenge. I also talk about what the PopSugar challenge actually is in that video as well, so if you want some more info on that, obviously give that video a watch. As what I did with the first part, I will leave all of the reading prompts that I mentioned in this video in the description down below, so have a read of those. If you can think of any books right off the top of your head for any of them and you want to join in, please let me know because I would love to know all about that as well. So I'm just going to get right on into it. So the next reading prompt is a book featuring an amateur detective. And for that I'm going to read Cream Buns and Crime by Robin Stevens. So I've really got into this series recently. It is a really funny, cozy, middle grade mystery series following these two girls, Daisy and Hazel, who always seem to be around when murders happen, and they always solve the case before the police do. And it's really funny, it's really cute. I love them, I love their friends, I love their families. It's just adorable, really, really addictive. I think I binge read about 5 of these books towards the end of last year. I think this is actually a collection of short stories to do with their mini adventures that didn't quite make it into novels of their own. But I'm really looking forward to getting back to Daisy and Hazel because I just absolutely adore them. So yeah, looking forward to this one. The next prompt is a book about a family, and for that I'm going to read Pachinko by Min-Jin Lee. So this is about multiple generations of a Korean family living in Japan, and that's pretty much all I know. I guess there's like questions of identity and culture clashes and differences and things like that. I'm really wanting to get into more Far East Asian literature though, and I think this might be a pretty good place to start. So if you have any other recommendations for me, I would love to know about them. So yeah, looking forward to this one too. The next prompt is a book with an item of clothing or accessory on the cover, and for that I'm going to read Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. So as you can see, there's a girl in a bikini with a whole bunch of lipsticks masquerading as bullets there. I don't know too much about this. I've never read a Libba Bray book, but I've had this book for quite a long time. I think this is about a bunch of beauty queens who crash land on a desert island and they have to survive. So it sounds kind of like Lord of the Flies, but possibly more funny than violent. The back says the 50 contestants in the Miss Teen Dream pageant thought this was going to be a fun trip to the beach where they could parade in their state appropriate costumes and compete in front of the cameras. But sadly their airplane had another idea, crashing on a desert island and leaving the survivors stranded with little food, little water and practically no eyeliner. What's a beauty queen to do? Continue to practice for the talent portion of the programme or wrestle snakes to the ground, get a perfect tan or learn to run wild, and what should happen when the sexy pirates show up? Welcome to the heart of non-exfoliated darkness. So it just sounds really funny, really cheeky, really quirky. So yeah, really looking forward to this one too. The next prompt is a book written by an author from Asia, Africa or South America. So I'm not actually sure whether this one's going to count because I think the author was actually born in the States, but I'm pretty sure he does have South American heritage, and that is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Aliri Sáenz. So as I said, I'm pretty sure he was born in the States, but I'm pretty sure he is still considered a South American author. I hope it counts anyway, because this is a book that I've really wanted to read for the longest time. As you can see, it's won a whole bunch of awards there. This is a YA LGBT romance book about these two boys who are very, very different, but they meet each other, and I think they find something that both of them was missing, and it just sounds really, really lovely. I've heard really, really good things about it, so yeah, I'm hoping that it is going to count for this prompt because I really, really want it to. The next prompt is a book inspired by mythology, fable or folklore, and for that I'm going to read Circe by Madeline Miller. So this is a stunning book. As you can see, I got it for Christmas. It is everywhere in UK bookshops right now. They're really, really promoting it, and I've heard absolutely amazing things about it as well. This is a retelling of the Greek myth of Circe. So I will just read you the summary. In the house of Helios, god of the sun and mightiest of the Titans, a daughter is born, but Circe has neither the look nor the voice of divinity and is scorned and rejected by her kin. Increasingly isolated, she turns to mortals for companionship, leading her to discover a power forbidden to the gods, witchcraft. When love drives Circe to cast a dark spell, vengeful Zeus banishes her to the remote island of Aiaia. There she learns to harness her occult craft, drawing strength from nature, but she will not always be alone. Many are destined to pass through Circe's place of exile, entwining their fates with hers. The messenger god Hermes, the craftsman Daedalus, a ship bearing a golden fleece, and wily Odysseus on his epic voyage home. There is danger for a solitary woman in this world, and Circe's independence draws the wrath of men and gods alike. To protect what she holds dear, Circe must decide whether she belongs with the deity she's born from or the mortals she has come to love. So it just sounds really, really good. I've heard amazing things about it. Gorgeous cover. Again, as you can see, I just can't stop staring at this book. So yeah, looking forward to this one too. The next prompt is a book with a zodiac sign or astrology term in the title, and for that I'm going to read Hold Back the Stars by Katie Khan. So this is a book that I've had for a while, that I really want to read. One of my favourite authors, Matt Haig, has praised it on the front, saying a high stakes, high concept love story from a bold new talent. So the back of this says, Karis and Max have 90 minutes of air left. None of this was supposed to happen. Adrift in space with nothing to hold on to but each other, Karis and Max can't help but look back at the world they left behind. A world whose rules they couldn't submit to, a place where they never really belonged, a home they're determined to get back to because they've come too far to lose each other now. So it just sounds really unique, probably quite tragic, very romantic, very lovely. So yeah, really looking forward to this one too. The next prompt is a book published posthumously. So for this, I'm going to read I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. So this is a non-fiction account, I think, of the case of the Golden State Killer. So the Golden State Killer was a burglar, rapist and murderer who was active in the mid-70s to mid-80s, I think, in California. And Michelle McNamara was a writer and journalist, I think, who was obsessed with this case. She did a lot of research into it. She did obviously eventually write this book, but she died at the beginning of last year, I think, quite suddenly, and sadly she died just before this book was published, and also just before they eventually caught him, which was last year as well, which I just think is so tragic because she was really, really obsessed with this case. But I've heard really good things about her book. I'm really fascinated by this case as well. I love my true crime, and it's been a long time since I read a true crime non-fiction as well. So yeah, really, really looking forward to getting into this. I think it's going to be absolutely fascinating. So yeah. The next prompt is a book that features a wedding, and for that I'm going to read China Rich Girlfriend by Kevin Kwan, and this is the sequel to Crazy Rich Asians, which I read and watched the film of last year. Really enjoyed both the book and the film. It is literally just a Asian rom-com. It is funny, it is romantic, it is cute. I recommend it. I really, really do. Read Crazy Rich Asians. Obviously, I'm not going to talk too much about this because it's the sequel and I don't want to ruin anything or spoil anything for the first book. So yeah, but I'm really looking forward to getting back to Kevin Kwan's writing. So yeah. The next prompt is a book that you have seen somebody reading on TV or in a film, and for this I'm going to be rereading Stephen King's The Shining because there's an episode of Friends that I love where Joey attempts to read The Shining and he ends up putting it in the fridge because it scares him so much, which I just love. And I have read this book. It was one of the first Stephen King books that I read in my early teens and I loved it. It's well overdue a reread from me. So yeah, looking forward to rereading The Shining. The next prompt is a retelling of a classic, and for that I'm going to read The Mists of Avalon by Marion Bradley. So this copy is actually one of my closest friends' copies, and I've had it for ages and I feel really bad that I haven't got around to reading it yet, but it is absolutely massive and I feel like I will have to dedicate some time to it. But this is a retelling of the Legend of King Arthur told from the perspective of the women of the Legend of King Arthur. So I've heard really, really good things about it, and yeah, really looking forward to finally reading it and being able to give my friend back her copy. So yeah. The next prompt is simply a ghost story. So for that, I'm going to read Thin Air by Michelle Paver. It says a ghost story on the cover. The back just says, the Himalayas 1935, Kanchenjunga, the sacred mountain, biggest killer of them all. 5 Englishmen set out to conquer it, but courage can only take them so far, and the higher they climb, the darker it gets. That just sounds very, very vague, very ambiguous, but yeah, I love my ghost stories, so really excited for this one too. The next prompt is a book by an author whose first and last name begin with the same letter, and for that I'm going to read Winter by Marissa Meyer. So this is the 4th book in the Lunar Chronicles series. I have read all 3 of the ones preceding this, obviously. These are YA sci-fi fairy tale retellings. This one is a retelling of Snow White. I really, really love this series. It's very, very unique, very exciting, some great characters. They are all individual stories in themselves, but all of the characters from the previous books intertwine in each of them. So yeah, really looking forward to this one. It is absolutely huge, but yeah, hopefully I will be able to get through it at some point this year. So yeah. The next prompt is a book with a question in the title, and for that I'm going to read Are We All Lemmings and Snowflakes by Holly Bourne. And this is a YA contemporary about a girl with anxiety, I think, and she goes to this summer camp. I think it's a summer camp, but everybody there has a mental health problem, and I think they like find friendship and love within each other. I know there is a very lovely central theme of kindness at the heart of this book, and you guys know I'm all about kindness, being the Hufflepuff that I am. So this book has been recommended to me multiple times, so yeah, really, really excited to finally have an excuse to get into it. So yeah. The next prompt is simply a book with a 2-word title, and for this I'm going to read a book that is again everywhere at the moment, and that is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I don't know too much about this other than everyone is raving about it, and I think it was long listed for the Man Booker Prize, but a lot of people said that it definitely should have won it. It did win the Waterstones Book of the Year, I think, which is why it's everywhere in Waterstones at the moment. Again, I don't know too much about it though. I've literally just picked it up, just been interested in it based on all of the praise and the prizes that it's won. So it just says, Connell and Marianne grow up in the same small town in the west of Ireland, but the similarities end there. In school, Connell is popular and well liked, while Marianne is a loner who has learnt from painful experience to stay away from her classmates. When the two strike up a conversation in Marianne's kitchen, awkward but electrifying, something life-changing begins, and that's literally all it says. So again, it sounds pretty ambiguous, but yeah, really, really looking forward to this because, as I said, so many people really love this book. So yeah. The next prompt is a book set on a college or a uni campus, and for that I'm going to read A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness, and I think this pretty much takes place in and around Oxford University. I don't know whether it is actual Oxford or like a sort of fictionalised version of Oxford, but the TV series for this came out last year and I'm really interested in watching that, so I kind of feel like maybe I should read the series before I watch it. So yeah, again, I don't know too much about this. I'm guessing it's kind of dark magic in and around Oxford, as I said, so yeah, that's pretty much all I know, so looking forward to this one too. The next prompt is a novel based on a true story. So for that, I'm going to read The Cult on Fog Island by Mariette Lindstein, I think is how you say her name. This is actually an arc that I picked up at my work. I'm literally just fascinated by cults and creepiness, as you probably know, and it just says the deadliest trap is the one you don't see, and it does say on the front that it is inspired by true events, which probably inspired me to pick it up even more. So the back says, when Sophia meets Franz Oswald, the handsome, charming leader of a mysterious new age movement, she's dazzled and intrigued. Visiting his headquarters on Fog Island, Sophia's struck by the beautiful mansion overlooking the sea and the purposefulness of the people who live there. So she agrees to stay, just for a while, but as summer gives way to winter, it becomes clear that Franz rules the island with an iron fist. No phones or computers are allowed, contact with the mainland is severed, and Sophia begins to realise how very alone she is and that no one ever leaves Fog Island. So it just sounds super creepy, super exciting, psychological thriller, inspired by true events, which just sounds so awesome. So yeah, really looking forward to this one too. The next prompt is a book about someone with a superpower, and for that I'm going to read Vengeful by V.E. Schwab, and this is the sequel to Vicious. Vicious is one of my favourite books of all time. Spoiler for the first part of my PopSugar TBR, by the way, Vicious is going to be reread by me this year, so obviously I'm going to need to reread Vicious before I read this, just so that I can refresh myself with the story. But yeah, superpowers are at play in these two books, and that's pretty much all I'm going to say. Yeah, really excited for this one. It's been a long time coming, so yeah. The next prompt is a book told from multiple character points of view, and for that I'm going to read Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. I believe this is like a sort of YA Game of Thrones kind of series. This is a series I've wanted to read for such a long time, and I believe it does have multiple points of view. I'm hoping. If it doesn't, please let me know, and obviously I will have to think of another book for this prompt, but yeah, it's a series I've wanted to read for a very long time, and I'm hoping that it's going to qualify for that prompt. So yeah, really looking forward to this one. The next prompt is a book revolving around a puzzle or a game, and for that I'm going to read Warcross by Marie Lu. This is a book that I've been highly anticipating for such a long time. I have had it a while. I think the sequel is now out as well. So I'm going to read you the back of this one. The obsession started 10 years ago, and its fan base now spans the globe, some eager to escape from reality and others hoping to make a profit. Struggling to make ends meet, teenage hacker Emika Chen works as a bounty hunter, tracking down Warcross players who bet on the game illegally. But the bounty hunting world is a competitive one, and survival has not been easy. To make some quick cash, Emika takes a risk and hacks into the opening game of the International Warcross Championships, only to accidentally glitch herself into the action and become an overnight sensation. Convinced she's going to be arrested, Emika is shocked when instead she gets a call from the game's creator, the elusive young billionaire Hideo Tanaka, with an irresistible offer. He needs a spy on the inside of this year's tournament in order to uncover a security problem, and he wants Emika for the job. With no time to lose, Emika's whisked off to Tokyo and thrust into a world of fame and fortune that she's only dreamed of, but soon her investigation uncovers a sinister plot with major consequences for the entire Warcross empire. So it sounds really good, reminds me of Ready Player One a little bit. Yeah, really looking forward to this one too. And the last prompt is to choose your favourite prompt from a previous year's PopSugar challenge. So I will leave a link to the PopSugar website where you can hopefully see all of the previous prompts from previous years. So I have picked the prompt, a book with a cat on the cover, because I love cats. And for that I'm going to read Cat Out of Hell by Lynn Trust. And I don't know anything about this at all. It just says a dead librarian, a charismatic cat, and a mystery involving the devil himself. If you've ever been suspicious of that evil glint in your cat's eye, this book might just confirm all your worst fears. So it sounds really funny, really quirky, possibly a little bit creepy as well. So yeah, really looking forward to this one too. And that is it for my PopSugar Reading Challenge TBR. Do you think you will be getting involved with it this year? Please let me know. Let me know also some of the books that you want to read for it. I will leave all of my social media in the description down below as normal. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye bye.